Okay, I'm late. I'm late. And I don't even know. I haven't looked at. I think my notes still. I think it's still good. I think all my stuff is still good. I don't know. I mean, SPY is back to 500. The Qs are back to positive. I mean, since we're live, let's take a look. I don't know what pushed the markets up. Honest to God, I was sitting there. I was on the phone with my friend because I've been getting messages from people. I don't know what pushed the damn markets back up. We're in a trade war. Did we just hit a bottom? I don't know. Let's go look at Twitter. I mean, it wasn't Delta earnings. Let's see. Morning, Jacob. Yeah. I mean, he's on Fox News saying, we will see more credit problems than people have seen in a long time, and you will. Yeah. As it comes. Morning, Scott. This is the problem. When you tweet things like this, time to move your company into the United States of America like Apple and so many others in record numbers are doing, zero tariffs and almost immediately. Electrical energy hookups and approvals, no environmental delays. Don't wait, do it now. I mean, he's almost saying that, Larry, nobody's calling him. Something very unusual happened in March. Long-term interest rates went up 20 basis points despite stocks going down. One potential reason for that move higher is an unwind of the basis trade. The basis is the difference in price between the Treasury and the Treasury futures contract. The source of this price difference is demand and supply imbalances in Treasury markets. In the basis trade, hedge funds puts on a leveraged bet, sometimes up 100 times, with the goal of profiting from the convergence between the futures price and the bond. How big is the basis trade? It's currently around $800 billion, an important part of the $2 trillion outstanding in prime brokerage balances. Wow. 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 Same or different day. And I know Wendy just emailed me. I tried to email back, but IAG, I am gold. you did IAG? Isn't that the I am gold? Yeah. I am gold's up 12%. Yeah. Let's go to the 4 hour. I need to get that on here. Morning, Wendy. I emailed you back. I'm just getting phone calls from friends. I have to typically calm friends down. I think the 1 hour strategy does pretty well with I am gold. It did. Did gold something happen with I am gold, Chris? I mean, what's funny is I did put out I am gold. You go to top stocks. I found IAG here in one of my scans, and I put it out to the paid group. I don't think Chris is a paid subscriber, but I put it out there. It's up 11%. I mean, it's traded down and up and down and up. I think I put it in the in that portfolio, but it's close to, an all-time high. Oh, 60. I love that 65-minute chart. I mean, I've got the 65-minute algorithm, but Wow, it got you in here. How did it get you out with a loss? Oh, I guess it triggered at the open at 616. Yeah. So it got you in at 623. Got you out at 616. Wow. That's a big move on a 4%. Something happened. Interesting. Let me open up the charts. And I got to get going, but let's see. What are we going to do? We are going to go back to Wednesday. I got a ton of notes. I don't know if they still make sense, but we had Delta earnings come in. Shit show, but it was an expected shit show. So you're up 6%. I mean, and Earnings Hub has a commercial, an actual commercial that you will start to see on CNBC and stuff. So I'll kind of show you that one. I don't think I can show it to you because I'm going to get a content claim. Walmart is leaning in. I mean, they released guidance, which is amazing. In the chat on Substack, literally last night, Eli was asking me about energy, and I said, yeah, BTU is a good one. And like 5 minutes later, it popped like 30%. So Trump says major tariff on pharmaceuticals coming soon. I think it's a buy the dip. Because, I mean, let's be honest. We're in a tariff war. CME is, I posted about that one earlier this week, that was a good one, and it's up. Warren Buffett's $325 billion cash pile. Don't become cynical. This is Bill Gross is warning the market crash will affect millennial and Gen Z. If you are in that group, don't become cynical about the market. So Marko Klonovic, markets are close to a Trump put sell-off. So be careful. QQQ with his strategy. This is blood in the street strategy. Enters when the price drops 10% from its 20-week high. And it makes you a great return. 263% return, 82% win. I'd argue you're in a different market, but my poor Apple, Gene Munster gives his take on this one. It's going to be a long episode. Inverse always wins. And here's the inverse of all the Mag 7. Would you invest in these charts? It's a good way to look at it. JP Morgan, they're lowering their target on everything. This particular person on Seeking Alpha made 580% on a put that they did last week. So, and he's saying he's doubling down. Biggest movers of the day, Taiwan Semi, plus 2% moved higher. Bath and Body Works, Peabody Energy. And the biggest losers, Cal-Maine, the egg producer, because they can't keep up with the current, egg prices are coming down. Here's the situation that we're in. And I think that put it really, really well. There's just too much to go over. I mean, it really is. Long-term treasury yields, that fucked up. I was up at midnight last night. I was tweeting last night. Again, 1201 on April 9th has just tipped the tariff war. So China got into it. The S&P 500 is on the verge of entering a bear market after Tuesday's reversal rally. Something seems to have broken. And that's just it. This is what you call a nightmare situation. Let's not forget where this came from. Trump inherited an economy with 3% inflation, 3% real growth, and 4% unemployment, plus a very real chance of a massive AI boom. And that's now at risk. Added Liberation Day to the bad news chart. That's how bad this is. Gunjan posted this basically a year of gains wiped out on the NASDAQ composite, which closed at its lowest level since January 2024. Trendspider, some of the highest volumes we've seen in years. Volume on the sell side, never good, means panic. S&P up 4% at peak, but closed in the red. October 2008 was the last time we saw that one. And I'm going to have a warning for people who haven't been in these kinds of markets or who aren't trading. But nobody's Team Navarro anymore, just so you know. And we're going to go with some fun tweets from Elon, because I do get a kick out of his childishness. But let's see. I've quote my notice, buy the dip. Yeah. When they asked me, why didn't you buy the dip? It's a good little clip. Okay. Markets are rebound. See you, Chris. Yeah, sorry I'm late, but you got called on a CD. That's funny. Oh, you saw that tweet? You real asshole, Donald. That was a good one, I thought. I thought that was a good one. Hey, I'm providing some entertainment while everybody loses money. Today's not, I mean, the futures look down. I don't know what the hell's going on, but we've come back. I mean, I'm up 1.6, and it's because Apple is soaring. I mean, tech is just soaring. Is today like the rest of the days? I don't know. I don't see anything that tells me rise despite China placing 84% tariffs. I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand it, but is this another dead cat bounce? I mean, this might be another fake out. You've had a couple of them this week, so I'm careful. Hit the thumbs up button. I know we got 23 people in here, but I'm going to start. Let me make sure. Yeah. Okay, there I am. And now I'm getting ads. Oh, it's crypto ads. CoinLedger. They want me to pay for CoinLedger. Okay. I'm going to start. Good morning. It is Wednesday, April 9th. It's Liberation Day. I mean, it feels like, what's Groundhog Day? We're over and over again. I will come on air and I will get this wrong. I mean, honestly, I will get this wrong. Because right now you're up. The markets are green, tremendously green. Tech is flying. Apple's up 3%. Amazon's up 2%. You've got Costco up 2%. You've got, Dell is up 1%. Microsoft up almost 2%. NVIDIA is up 4%, trading over 100. PanW, which is cybersecurity, is up almost 4%. Palantir is up almost 5%. Walmart is up almost 5%. We'll go over that. We're going to go over everything. So I got a couple of stock plays that I think you might be interested in. We're going to go over stuff. Just understand the big news overnight. China started the trade war. So the tariffs from America went on. Right now it's a game of chicken. Who's going to back down first? Because as the U.S. when it enacted, China then enacted more tariffs. Now understand, I think it's called on the water tariffs, or in bay. So what was shipped out yesterday does not get a tariff. So if it's actually on the water, you've got like a 3-4 day kind of caveat. If it's actually left port before today, then there's no tariffs. So I think it's called on the water. I forget what it is. But again, how am I playing this market? Well, I'm not buying anything. I didn't do anything yesterday. I didn't sell anything. Yesterday, we saw an enormous turnaround in the market. Look at that 5-minute chart. This was yesterday. That was 10 o'clock where we were up. Nice. It filled the gap back down. So what have you seen? You've seen gaps down on many of these days. Have we filled them? No. You got rejected off of this gap fill on QQQ. Now, the only thing I can think of is that 400 mark, if we turn on after hours, that 400 mark seems to provide some support. You can see it at 805 right here. It got down to 408. Does 400 provide us support? Maybe. Maybe. But I want you to watch this clip. When they ask me why you didn't buy the dip, I'm dumb. I'm done. But again, it's to Bitcoin. It's not the market. But you got to be careful in this market. Trump is tweeting that China wants a deal and they're waiting for their call. China's not calling. In fact, I put out a tweet last night. I'll show you this tweet because there likely was a text from Xi Jinping. And I'm not confirming that this was the text. I was not on the text chain. But I think this is the text that came over from Xi Jinping. You real asshole, Donald. And notice there's no L. There's no L. You know, remember, election for an Asian, it said erection. You real asshole. Asshole, Donald. I thought this was good. And again, you know, I can make these jokes. I can say it all the time. I have got an accent. I am from New York, so I understand. I went through 3 years of therapy to try and get rid of my accent. Didn't work. Didn't work. But you've got this. Elon Musk. Navarro is truly a moron. This is fun. There's breaks in the administration. Okay? I haven't spoken with a single business leader or investor that's on Team Navarro. Nobody is on Team Navarro. Elon called Navarro retardo. Remember, the only reason Navarro is around is because Jared Kushner in the Trump 1.0 had to Google to find somebody who was a China hawk who had written a book on Amazon. That's how they found Navarro. And they installed him in Trump 1.0. He is so irrelevant, yet he has come up with this strategy. He is the moron that has the president's ear. So I don't believe in it. Again, this was not in the plan. Expect the market to get a tweet and get beaten back down. He's been tweeting today. So we've gotten the bounce. Is it going to hold today? The 10-year now is now above where we were Liberation Day at 4.266 this morning. Okay, where is it now? Let's go look at the 10-year. Where's the 10? Let's go to bonds and we'll look at the 10-year because overnight it has shot up. Now it's at 4.37. 1 month ago, it was at 4.3. It was lower 1 month ago. Remember, that was part of Liberation's Day plan is to get bond rates down. You're seeing panic. I think you're seeing China sell. The S&P was up 4% at the peak yesterday. It closed in the red. October 17th, 2008 was the last time we saw that. Now, that was a bad time. Yesterday was really bad. Some of the highest volume we've seen in years. Look at that chart. Look right below my head right there. That's a daily candle, and that's the volume we saw. That is huge. And it's not good huge. It's bad huge. It's on the downside. We wiped out a year of gains for the NASDAQ Composite, which just closed at its lowest point since January 31st, 2024. Okay? Some people are asking me, just like Trump, some people are asking me, what are you doing? I'm doing nothing. Just to be perfectly clear, I was late this morning getting on the air for YouTube. The reason is I'm getting calls from people. I've got money. What should I do? Stay patient. And you know how I'm staying patient? One of the ways is I've got this strategy called the Liberation Day strategy, okay? And I put this chart out on Monday, and I created this over the weekend. The back testing starts here. When? December 2015. Remember, that was when Trump was elected. He was the president-elect, and he took over. Now, this goes back 9.2 years. 9.2 years. You have 14 positions. There's not a lot. It's 14 positions. You win 64% of the time. That means you win 8 times out of 14. Okay? When are the times that you lose? 2022. Got you in a little early. Doesn't mean that you couldn't hold there. When did you lose? In 2024, when we had that turn back in the summer. Doesn't mean you couldn't hold there. And it got you in and out real quick with a little 4% loss right there in September. Doesn't mean you couldn't hold there. When am I getting back in? When it tells you. This liberation strategy, to me, this is when it's going to tell me to get my 40% cash off the sidelines. This week's candle so far, it's up 3.7%. Okay? This week's candle from open to close is up 3.7%. Is it going to hold? Because we didn't hold this yesterday. We were up yesterday. Right now, you're up, you are up 1.95% on the Qs. It seems to not be holding if we go back to a 5-minute. See? I mean, where did we open up at? Let's see, 14, 15, 16. This is a 5-minute candle right here. You're seeing strength, but we're running right up against that 200-day, right on the 200-day on a 5-minute chart. Again, you go back to the weekly here. The RSI, we are so oversold, and this could be an oversold bounce. So I want you to know that this market, again, added Liberation Day to the list of bad news. Really doesn't look as bad this way. It doesn't. I think you've got further down. But I don't know how far down. Nobody knows how further down. But if you haven't traded in this market, okay, and when I say this market, I mean 2008, I mean 2018 during the first Trump tariff war, which turned out okay. Just to be perfectly clear, it turned out okay. It was not as deep as this. This was a China tariff war, okay? And it was a tariff war. It wasn't a trade war. It was a tariff war. So it wasn't as bad as this. But it doesn't look that bad. But you can see, again, many times you're fine. If your horizon is 20 years, you could be perfectly fine. But I would argue, go back to a monthly, okay? And you tell me if you got in 2000, okay? You got in 2000. That was the peak. Now, it's not there yet. Maybe you got in, say, in December 2000, March 2001. You were buying the dip. Say you were buying in April. How far down was this? Let's see. From the peak, that was down 60%. And you said, you know what? I want to buy. How long did it take you to get back to even? Well, let's see. That's March 2021 right there. How long did it take you to get back to even? October 2007. Okay, and then you lost it all with the financial crisis. How long did it actually take you to get back to even? April 2010. That's 9 years. Now, I'm not saying this is what's happening. I'm not saying that at all. It took you 9 years. What I am saying is you've got to be smart about this. When you look at a 4-hour chart, let's get out of the Liberation Day and let's go to the 4-hour algorithm. When you go to the 4-hour algorithm, you're still not in. Okay? I would wait for some clear signal, not on a 5-minute chart, not on a 4-hour chart, maybe on a daily or a weekly, but back test your strategy. If the strategy doesn't back test, do not enter. And if you don't have back testing capability, wait. Wait until your 50-day starts turning positive on the chart that you're looking at. And again, do a longer term chart. Wait till it's positive. So just find a strategy that works, because you could get hurt in this one. And remember where we came from. Trump inherited an economy with 3% inflation, 3% real growth, and 4% unemployment, plus a very real chance of a massive AI boom like we had in 2000. Maybe he's trying to avoid the 2000 to 2010 kind of lost decade, but he bungled it this badly in 4 months, and he's on there saying that nobody has seen the first 100 days of a president do any better. I can tell you a few people who have done better. And this is what you call a nightmare situation. Treasury bond yields are now plus 10% since April 3rd, while the S&P is down 10%. The 10-year note is currently yielding up 55 basis points in 48 hours. That's huge. In other words, we have higher rates with stocks pricing in a recession. Something broke. Now, I'm not trying to get you out of the market. If you're trying to sell this market, I think it's too late. I am trying to avoid you from getting back in. Okay, the S&P is on the verge of entering a bear market after Tuesday's reversal. Yesterday's reversal was not a good thing. Today, does it hold? I don't know. Nobody knows. But yesterday was nothing more than a bear market bounce that got taken down by China tariffs, because the bear market bounce was taken down when the press secretary said, yeah, we're holding strong. This again is the dumbest recession ever, because none of this had to happen. It's less about the actual policy, which many people agree with, and it's more about the implementation and the disastrous messaging. This was rolled out as a tariff policy. It became a trade policy. When it was a tariff policy, the market went up by 2% in the Rose Garden. When the trade imbalance was actually announced, over the next 4 days, the market lost 20%. So, 12:01, April 9th, the United States has issued a tariff on China, implemented at 104%. At the same time, the 10-year bond, this is midnight last night, surging up to 5.47%. This is highly likely due to hedge funds selling bonds to potentially cover their margin requirements, and foreign governments like China selling their bonds as a form of retaliation. A higher 10-year bond will bring higher rates across the board, most notably mortgage rates, and widen credit spreads. All of this fuels the chance for a recession. We have seen $10 trillion leave the stock market. It just goes into evaporation, because remember, you don't lose until you sell. But the actual value has been $10 trillion. We need to deal with China soon for somewhat come back to normal. And that's the danger. Somebody's got to call chicken on the other one. And if you want to know what long-term treasury yields surged on Monday due to the unwind of the basis trade, read this. It's all about the basis trade. Just read it. There's some good stuff on the basis trade. So, let's see. What do we have now? Rapidly rising long-term interest rates? Not good. It's what this was supposed to avoid. GDP set to decline for multiple quarters? Not good. We were increasing. Inflation data back on the rise. Hopefully it doesn't come out horribly tomorrow. Largest wave of tariffs in 100 years. Consumer sentiment at pandemic lows. The stock market is currently in a bear market. What does the Fed even do? If the Fed lowers rates, you've got inflation rising. They don't want to lower rates. And mind you, Jerome Powell is no friend of Donald Trump. They hate each other. Hate. Even though Jerome Powell was placed in his position by Donald Trump. But they hate each other. Hate each other. Okay, the biggest movers of the day, Delta Airlines. We'll go over that one. I mean, when you pretty much tell the street that shit's going to explode, and then it just does, say you eat some street food and you say, oh shit, I'm going to have diarrhea for the next year, the next week. And then maybe you have diarrhea for a day. That's what Delta Airlines did. They had diarrhea for a day. Shares gained after the airline beat Q1 earnings estimates. It was just because they were lower. They didn't beat the initial. Remember, 2 months ago, Ed Bastian was out in front of the cameras going, we expect 2025 to be a record year. And then like 2 weeks later, oh shit, I made a mistake. Bed and Bath Body Works, shares after Piper Sandler upgraded them. Peabody Energy, I'll have a fun one about this one because Eli and I were talking about it. And what's the losers? Well, Cal-Maine. Egg prices, they were high. They're getting comparison against a huge egg price. You're going to go down. Now, I want to talk to you about this one. BCA Bearisin, stocks to go lower, open to doubling down on a profitable bearish SPY bet. Okay? The strategist late Monday told clients it's closing its long SPY position. June 30th, 2025, 550 was the put position. They made a 536% profit. Okay? On that put, yesterday's stocks had fallen a lot, so we decided to book these profits. Again, it had time, June 30th, they booked 536% profit. And what'd he say? I'm open to doubling down again. We're heading into a recession. This is a quote. We're heading into a recession, and the market is not trading at levels consistent with a recession. Corporate spreads are not levels consistent with a recession. Commodity prices are not consistent with levels of a recession. So there's more downside risk for a lot of cyclical assets. I want to remind you, okay? This is a big one. A 50% decline takes 100% gain just to get back to even. So as you hear stats about how great the rebound will be, remember that somebody may tell you, hey, 9 out of 10 times the market is up 20% over the next time. Well, if you bought at the top, 20% isn't even getting you back to even. That's why I went with a tax loss harvest strategy, is because I'm going to wait 30 days. If I have to buy back at a higher price, I'm fine. I also may be doing this with the Alpha Picks portfolio, just so you know. Again, you have to cut your losers. Don't hold on to them. The Alpha Picks portfolio, I'm trying to come up with a strategy that may protect against this stuff, because I don't think this is the first time. This won't be the last time that we're going to see this in Trump's presidency. I also want to point out in Trendspider, when you go to what's happening now, and you go, let's see, we're not going to do insider trades. We're going to do government trades. We're going to take it. This is the Pelosi tracker. We're just going to take this out, and we're going to take it out there, and we're going to apply. Because yesterday, you had a ton of purchases disclosed from Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, $275,000 worth of buys from Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, tell me how an effing House member masses $275,000 to buy stock. This is part of the grift. Doesn't mean that you go buying, okay, just to follow her. But understand, you can get all that in Trendspider. You can go and look at that. You don't have to pay a separate subscription to find out who's trading. It's part of the grift. You can follow them if that's your game. Okay, plus you get the 4-hour algorithm. How do you get all this? You go over to my link tree, linktr.ee. Remember, I use this not only just to make money when times are good. This saves me money. And like I said, you can get the 4-hour algorithm. You sign up for a yearly plan. Okay? Skip the trial. You can do a 2-week trial for $30. You ain't getting the 4-hour algorithm. You will get the political buys. You will get the 1-hour strategy. You will get the liberation strategy that I talked about. That's a long term, but you won't be able to try it in 2 weeks, because I guarantee you that liberation strategy that's based on a weekly candle, that's not getting you in 2 weeks. That's why I say take advantage of the offer. It's 40% off. $655. If you've got enough in your bank, have you lost $655 over the last few weeks? Because if you had, maybe you would have sold out some of that and saved money using Trendspider. Again, charts don't lie. There's no emotions in this. When the algorithm got you in here at 456 and got you right out in the next candle at 460, okay, you got out. That's the 4-hour algorithm. You can find strategies like this all over the place. In fact, I'm going to bring one up called Blood in the Streets. It's going to be there. Okay? Just understand this. What once was upside in many stocks because they were trading at good valuations, these become prices that you just wait until we have a good economy. Right now, you don't have anything that's pointing you towards a great economy. JP Morgan lowered its price target on Amazon to 220. It's trading at like 170. You're fine. JP Morgan lowered its price target on Google to 180, trading at like 140 something. It's fine. JP Morgan lowered its price target on Meta to 610. It's trading at about $500. JP Morgan lowered its price target on Netflix to $1,025. This one, there's no tariffs. It's trading at $800. And I don't care. The only two that I would actually put money in right now is Netflix and Amazon. Netflix, maybe if we get a recession, some people pull back on their Netflix. Netflix will just raise the price for the people to keep it. Amazon trading at a crazy good valuation. And understand what I always say with Kramer, inverse wins. These are the inverse charts of the Magnificent Seven. Would you buy this? That's NVIDIA. Would you buy Microsoft? Maybe it's a bounce. Would you buy Meta? Would you buy Tesla? Would you buy Amazon? Would you buy Google? Again, even here's GameStop. Doesn't look horrible. And then you inverse Kramer himself. So, Gene Munster put out, speaking of Apple, over the past 5 trading days, Apple investors have slid into panic mode. Shares are down 23% since April 2nd. I've sold several times in this. It's going to get ugly with China over the next month, which will intensify the panic. Again, that's where Apple is in danger. My eyes are on the horizon. Look out 3 months from now. I believe Apple will be largely spared from the impact of tariffs given Cook's favorable relationship with both Trump and Xi. The biggest wild card is the broader consumer, which could weaken in a recession. That risk, in my view, is already priced in. Apple traded down to 178. Okay, it's at 178 yesterday. It closed at 172. That is a crazy good price for Apple. Okay, I like Apple. Big picture, the storm will pass. Apple's brand's loyalty remains strong and will drive Apple Intelligence upgrades into full year 2026. Now he's bullish. We got Apple, WWDC, Worldwide Developers Conference in June. They may come out with something. But the tariffs will hurt. Apple slide extends as China hits back with tariffs. Rises rate on. We don't know. Maybe, like last time, they come directly at Apple. China does. But it's up 3% here. People are buying. I just don't want you to buy in until you have a strategy. Maybe it's the 4-hour algorithm. Because here's the thing. 4-hour algorithm on Apple, it had you selling at 207. I sold at 195. I didn't believe it. I said, you know what? I'm waiting for that 200. And all of a sudden, it got there. I sold at 197. And I didn't sell out. I got an average purchase price like $2 on this damn thing. But the 4-hour algorithm, when you back test it, look at this down here. Performance. Okay? Because buy and hold has just been a horrible thing over the last 60 days. And when you look at this, you make 31% over the last 24 months versus buy and hold makes you 8%. So if you're nervous about this Mag 7 stuff, use the 4-hour algorithm. Find a strategy that works. Okay, one of the strategies is blood in the streets. This is how simple it is to blood in the streets. Okay, let's look at it. Enters long when the price drops 10% from its 20-week high. 6 months later, past decade, 263% total return, 82% win rate. You win 82% of the time. 13.5% average return per trade. And how do you do it? You click on that and you get this screen, log in and import. Okay. Then you do that and you basically hit subscribe. And then we're going to see it over here. You subscribe to this strategy, blood in the streets. Okay. We're going to use this strategy. We're going to type this in, blood in the streets right here. And we're going to go and look at this strategy. It just enters in. Okay, this is a weekly. Ignore the freaking, all the marks on this. Because it's a weekly, it just layers it over. But you can see the performance down here. Again, over the last 10 years, 262%. Buy and hold makes you 397%. But you win 82% of the time. And that's the key. The key is you win 82% of the time. So it finds you entries that are good. And that's the point. You don't want to just, enter in blindly. You want to find a strategy. Again, get Trendspider. For those 2 weeks, you can use this blood in the street strategy, but the reality is it is a weekly strategy. You won't get an entry on that one. You may, but don't count on it. That's why I want you to get the yearly subscription and skip the trial. Okay? Marko Klanovic, biggest bear out there. Markets are close to a Trump put. Sell-off is a clown show. The stock market is close to a Trump put that will push the president to change his trade policies, according to Marko Klanovic. The Trump put, as he said, is somewhere around 4,800 on the S&P. We can go and look at SPY because remember, just take the last digit off and that's SPY. Where are you? 498. Where'd you get to yesterday? Let's see. The low? 489. 489. Again, Marco is pointing out to. The president said he is firm and is not planning to pause his tariff plans. It's kind of like a clown show and really has to be wrapped up soon because it's not just bad for the markets and the economy. It's actually bad for Trump too. So you've got to make sure that you're comfortable with this stuff. And if you want to bet on this, use leveraged ETFs. That's betting, but use a strategy. Go and use the blood in the streets. Go and use the liberation strategy. Go and use the 1 hour strategy that I have, or see even 65 minute. Okay, let's look at the 65 minute on SQQQ because let's see how it backtests a little bit. Look at this one. 65 minute got you in here at 34. You've been winning on this one. Just got you out of an 18% gain. It just got you in on QQQ. Okay, this is SQQQ. It got you in here at 47. It's going to get you out soon. You're at 51. And it's been going well. Now, if you want to play the inverse, go to TQQQ. Again, find a strategy. Because once this one starts to turn around, like Marco says, TQQQ may be it. But understand that is betting. Because you don't want to buy and hold these damn things. Okay, Bill Gross. The market crash will affect millennial and Gen Z investors. This is a point that I want to make to my younger listeners. What before was a can't miss way to make money, which was buy the dip, will induce caution and more conservative attitudes, resulting in lower PE ratios, higher yields, and lower single-digit returns. So understand, millennial and Gen Z. So when you are, even though you bought 2020, even though you bought 2021, we've just wiped out a lot of those gains in some of these stocks. Don't make this be make you cynical. Okay? Buy the dip has always worked. This is a bad one. This is just, we've been through this. This isn't a once in a lifetime opportunity to buy because you don't know where the bottom is. But find a strategy that works. Backtest it. This is why I tell you all those tools. And if you want to know why Buffett is the GOAT, he's got enough money now, cash sitting on the sidelines, to buy 479 of the S&P 500 companies. The cutoff is $333 billion at Home Depot. So he could literally just buy the S&P 479. That's how good he is. And I mentioned CME. I mentioned CME earlier this week. Look at this one. CME up 9.8% year to date. Now, do you have a strategy on CME? Because the strategy, the 4-hour algorithm, got you out here with a 10% gain. Okay, I mentioned it earlier this week, and I said we can enter into this one because, again, they make money. These guys make money. Let's go and look at CME. Seeking Alpha Premium will tell me it's a hold. The valuation's a D+. You want to find something that trades. But again, this is a financial. So what do they make money? It operates contracts markets for trading of futures and options. This is going to make money. It's tariff proof. Okay? The valuation, expensive. Growth, not that great. But again, revenue growth, 9% year over year. It's pretty good. What does Wall Street say that it's worth? Well, they say it's worth 265. It's at 252. Again, find a strategy that works on this one. No tariffs on data. NASDAQ, S&P, Dow rise despite China placing 84%. I can't believe this. I cannot believe that this is up. China released their white paper, and then they put on reciprocal tariffs. It's officially a war right now. Okay? Trump says major tariffs soon coming on pharmaceuticals. Today would be a buy the dip. We ain't going without medicines. He's not going to put a major tariff and raise prices on medicines because that raises the cost of Medicare and Medicaid paying for all these medications. He's not going to do it for an extended period of time. So understand, when that actually gets taken off, then you're going to have a boom in these stocks. And last night in the paid chat, Eli was texting me in the paid chat on the newsletter. And he said, hey, I'm looking at some of these, energy companies. And I was thinking BTU. I said, last time I traded BTU was during Trump's first presidency because coal went soaring because he made a deal with China. Boom. Peabody Energy surges on Trump's executive order boosting coal industry. He loves freaking coal. I have no idea why he loves coal. But you can see right here, revenue growth year over year down 14%. 14% short interest as well. You had some short covering in this. People had to get out of their shorts. And it was up like 20%, I think, in pre-market. Has it come down? Let's look at how this one traded in pre-market. We'll go to the 5 minute. Look at that. That was where we were talking about it, about 415, 430, somewhere around there. $11. This one shot up to 14. Now it's come back down. Any reaction in the market is an overreaction. I just want to point out Eli didn't buy it like I told him to. But, again, Walmart, part of the core portfolio. This one's up 2%. Leans into uncertainty by backing Q1 guidance. They came out and said, you know what? Our Q1 guidance is fine. The problem is, this takes total balls to come out. I mean, this is cojones to come out and say, yeah, we're reissuing our guidance is the same. You saw Delta drop theirs. We'll go over that one. But their CFO, they didn't guide on their cost. And so their CFO said, history tells us that when we lean into these periods of uncertainty, Walmart emerges on the other side with greater share and a stronger business. Buy it. You can buy this dip. I think Walmart is an absolute buy at 84. It's up 3%. What's its 52-week high? 105. What does Wall Street think that it's worth? 107. 27% up. Is the valuation stretched? Abso-freaking-lutely. But I still shop at Walmart. I haven't switched back to Target. I like it. Now we're entering earnings season. You've got an earnings hub commercial that will be on CNBC and stuff. I told these guys, put me on. Put me in, coach. They didn't want me on their damn commercial, but it is what it is. They released this commercial. Again, earnings hub. It is my favorite. I'll put this in the newsletter, but it is my favorite site. Okay, and if we just go to today, we can see Delta's earnings calls going on right now. You can listen to it live here, and you can see the results. Q1 2025 earnings, up 7% on revenue versus the estimate, up 21%. Was this was it a kind of sandbag for them to come out? Again, Ed Bastian was out there at the beginning of the year saying, hey, this is going to be a record quarter. It's up 8%, but that's only because they lowered estimates so much. The 4-hour algorithm, over 24-month, 23 positions, okay? You make 75%. Versus buy and hold, you made 7.6%. You've got an opportunity to get into this if it continues. But he even said, hey, we're weak. I don't know why it's up 8%. The only reason is because it wasn't as bad as expected. But they didn't give great guidance. They pulled its full year guidance. It warns of a slow growth economy. That's what you're going to start seeing is when people start, when they get on this call, he's probably pumping this up. Remember, he pumped it up Q1. This was the greatest quarter in our history. And then 2 weeks later, hey, we're going to cut capacity because we're just not seeing demand. Airlines aren't a buy and hold. Airlines are a trade. I will say it again. Airlines are a trade, not a buy and hold. Okay, United Airlines has done phenomenally over this period. They have navigated this one tremendously. The 4-hour algorithm makes you 69% versus 29% buy and hold. Okay? It is a trade. So that's it. That's everything. There is a lot going on in the markets. The markets are green. QQQ is up 1.5%. There's a lot of green. There is Bank of America is down 3% at 33. This is a buy under 40. Be scared. You can use the 4-hour algorithm. It makes you 44% versus 25% buy and hold. And the reason is because the 4-hour algorithm gets you out. When you get up near the $50 mark, that's a sell until it turns into resistance. Support. It is resistance. And you can see that's the 2022 highs. Now we've broken down from this range, which was a nice trading range on the weekly, because you could absolutely trade in this range. We've broken down from it. But I still say Bank of America is too big to fail. There are quite a few banks that I like. I own Wells Fargo. I own Bank of America. I think that's it. I might own Citigroup. I'm not quite sure. So don't hold me on that one. But I like financials. I think financials, you get deregulation. You start lending out money. This entire administration is going to be about growth. And they're going to lend out money. So again, I don't think that this bounce is anything more than just a technical bounce. When we look at the Qs and we look at a long term, we look at a weekly, you're barely even down. You're barely even down. It's a drastic downturn. But look where you're at. I mean, this provided support from April of last year. And the low here was 413. Provided support right there. If you go down to the 200-day, you're at 381. And it's not unlikely that we get down there. Again, it depends how long this goes on. I think you're seeing a relief rally. I would not buy into it. Again, if you're long-term and you want to buy into it, absolutely. But in my mind, I'm waiting for a weekly candle on the liberation strategy because you have to have a strategy. Again, I say this over and over again. Part of your strategy may just be to look at the fundamentals. You can go down here and look at the top stocks and you can pull up. We've looked at KINS, we've looked at QFIN, we've looked at FinV. Let's look at, I'm going to sort this by, let's see. We're going to put in advanced filters and we're going to go in valuation and I'm going to put in, you know what? It's company details. I want to put in market cap. Okay. I want to put in market cap and I want to edit these filters. And when I want, where's my market cap? There it is. I want to pull this down and I want to say larger than 100 billion. We don't have any in the 100 billion mark. Let's say 75 million. Sorry, 75 million. Let's say 75 million. There you got a couple. Is it 100? Let's put 80. You know what? We'll put 90 million. There we go. let's pull this. Let's see. Oh, there we go. It goes to 100 billion. So let's do, we'll do 900 million. There we go. We'll just do that. QFIN. Let's look at QFIN. What's this one? Year to date, down 8%. Over 1 year, you're up 76%. Let's look at when it went to a strong buy. Because it went to a strong buy here at 23, you're at 35. So maybe you just want to, sit in here and look at strong buys on this stuff. And again, this is a company I know nothing about. But if you just go up here to the alert and you hit the quant rating and you look at the analyze with AI, and then you have any chart program, say you don't want Trendspider, just buy any chart program or even get Thinkorswim for free. But again, have a plan, back test it. Understand that 4-hour algorithm doesn't just make me money. It actually saves me money. So I want to look at this. I back tested this from January 16th to April 6th, 2025. That's the way I like this. So I have my strategy. I am perfectly fine. I am perfectly happy. I'm not losing sleep at night. Yes, I have lost a tremendous amount of money. Tremendous amount of money. More than the net worth of probably 90% of the people in this country. But I'm still sleeping. And I'll still be fine. And I still have a hope that this is going to turn around. Something's going on. I'm just not sure what. I'm way up today. But again, Apple is up 4%. Doesn't mean that, I'm back to where I was. Just means that I'm up 4%. Getting back to where we have been is going to be a long, hard road. So don't just blow your load on one buy. It's still broken. Okay. If you have any questions, hit me up. Again, Substack is probably the best place to go. It is the newsletter. And there's a chat in there that you can chat with me right here. There is also notes. So if you just go down here and you look at my, if we just look at my profile, let me see, we go to right here. You can see the activity. I did some posts. That's my latest post. But just this morning, over the past week, every stock market analyst has added to their resume, stock expert, tariff expert, international trade expert, bond expert. Yeah, we've all been it. And yet, even being with an expert, we all missed the fact that short has been the only short-term profit. Just remember, while you're holding a 50% loss, 100% gain. I posted "You Real Asshole, Donald," which I think is still effing funny. This is my growth of stuff. I had Grok create this image because they're crashing the economy. I also put in how to pay yourself $770,000 over 20 years. So, yeah. Everything's good. Everything's fine. Don't panic. Just make sure you have a plan. And that plan should include when you're getting in and when you're getting out. And if that plan doesn't include a 5, 10-year, and 15-year plan, then you really haven't planned. And journal your trades and pay yourself commission. So if you have any questions, hit me up. Okay, take care. Bye. Yeah, that was it, Wendy. Yeah, Shep, I think, it's funny because I think you bought it the entry yesterday, Shep. I was hoping that it was at the end of the day, not the beginning of the day, but I think you bought I don't think if your long-term outlook, here's the thing, I think you're about my age, maybe a little bit older, somewhere in that neighborhood. If you look at a 20-year candle of the companies that you bought, you're up. I can't imagine that you go down 20 years, and you probably have 20-year time horizon. Just make sure you're not holding on to losers. And I point this out a lot. The Nifty 50, if you just go and look at GE stock, and we're going to look at quarterly, because look at that run up. Okay, this run up from 1982. Remember, I started trading in 1985. Then you had Black Monday. This was 1987 right there. That 1987 doesn't look like anything, but holy shit, it was. That was bad. And that pulled back, but we continued on. And then you had a company, and I think this will happen to Apple and others, is this company got to this point in 2000, $267 per share. I point that out because today GE is trading for $170 per share. You got dividends, you didn't do well. You just didn't. So at times, there are times to go into companies and there are times to do it. But over 20 years, you should be okay. And you don't have to, again, I think you got 3 other companies stock during this time, but you didn't do well. And my point is, I think there's a lot of my parents' friends who worked at GE and they had stock in GE and they didn't do well. So just be careful what you're buying. Okay, with that, I am out of here because I got to do a bunch of work. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Listen now. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. and fears.